Yeah, so guys, we're getting a little bit of strength pre-market, but not much. Yesterday obviously was a little bit choppy when you got the big flush down. Then we just chopped around the rest of the day. We're still inside range, so we're not gonna have we're not gonna have necessarily any major action. I wouldn't think today. We're kind of in the grind mode, but we are reaching some good inflection points on the QQQs and the SPY. So theoretically, we should bounce, right? But what we need to do is look at shorter term price action to really determine whether that's going to happen. Hey, Shelton, how you doing? Celeste, what's up? Chris, how you doing? Danny, what's going on? Timmy, how you doing? Yeah, so we got 16 stochastics. We're sitting at the 200 SMA. We are in a bounce zone, so we'll have to let the action play itself. But there's more than enough plays today to keep us busy, where we don't have to necessarily watch the market tick by tick, but expect a little back and forth today. Right now, what it's telling us is we should bounce, but the short-term price action has been awful, right? So they're not marrying itself right now to avail itself for a bounce, right? For a bounce to really start, you want to see on shorter-term time frames patterns starting to trigger and fire off before you get just gung-ho on the long life. But this market surprised us a lot of times in the past, where you think it's dead and then it just comes right back. So just kind of keep mind of that stuff. Let's talk about the watch list today. I got this Van Houston watch for potential short. Really kind of keep an eye on these 88 lows too. If it starts getting dusted off that spot at the open and you ORB down there, I think that this one should have a little bit of room. The range on this is going to be nice, right? It's going to have, it's going to have good range. It's already moving around $10 plus. I think that one's one to watch. This mauve is breaking down its bear flag over here. The issue on this one is there's not much liquidity happening on this one now. So what I'll have to do is at the open, I'll watch it. If there's 500,000 shares or more fire off at the open, then it's on the list. If it's not, then I usually just take it off because it'll trade thin the rest of the day. And then with the SSR on it, right, it's already down 13.7%. You end up with lack of liquidity and then also a squeeze. Dollar General is actually coming out of this wedge over here. This one actually has a chance to attack these highs over here. There's very few stocks, there's only a handful of these kind of retail stocks that are actually near all-time highs. This one is got a lot of relative strength. I think it's one to watch. Will it move that fast? It's a $30 billion dollar store company. So how fast it moves, nobody really knows. It's intraday range looks okay on earnings on the last few times it's had earnings. So we've had big days in the past. I'd give it like a B minus. And then I think the better one is this Vive. This Vive is really busting out to ATH over here. It doesn't look like much, but when it goes, it can really go. So watch this thing. If it can hold over that 145, we can start looking at it for an ORB or something like that on short-term time frames. This one will move fast. The issue on it's going to be, is there a spread, right? Is there a spread on it? If there is, then you've got to kind of leave it alone, because most of you guys, myself included, don't trade stocks with big spreads. At least for day trading, I don't trade them that well. So I always got to be real mindful of just where I am on the overall chart. Otherwise, you kind of get smoked out, and next thing you know, you're all depressed because you chase some stock that's got a big spread, and then you're just left holding the bag on it. So keep an eye on it. Make sure that spread tightens. On the other side of things, BYND's popping up pre-market already. If this thing can hang out over 97, so that's its breakout spot, and then 100 is going to be psychological support. If it can build out patterns in those areas, I think that we have a chance on this one to get going. Man, it was hot yesterday. Even when the market was kind of fading off, this one was hot. And then, obviously you have the... I was taking a nap when this damn thing went. It obviously had this big, last hour push. Kind of 97, 98. Dude, that's a run, right? That's a run where you can really kind of build up some ammo in your account. So keep an eye on this one. Now, with this particular stock, Most likely it's a turd. It doesn't really matter that it's a turd, but most likely it is. It does have the tendency to drop out of nowhere once it gets extended. We are coming, the bounce started at 76, right? So we're already $20 deep into the bounce. You're not at day one of a bounce. Day one, day two of a bounce, they're like the really easiest. Now it's starting to speed up, but you're kind of right $20, $30 deep into the bounce. Your reward is going to be a little bit less than it would have been, right, if you were trying to hit it, many of days ago. So just keep an eye on it. Don't go oversizing on this one because it also has a spread and the rug gets pulled on it often. So just be careful on it. I think Roku we still keep on the list. Like it's just trending up its 9 EMA. It got smoked out the previous day from that downgrade, and then it looks like it got some upgrades yesterday. So just back on it. As long as this thing is hanging out over the 9 EMA on the daily, we can use it as a daily trader, a proxy, right? A proxy for as like a trading vehicle, like a TVIX almost, but just in the opposite. So we want to just keep that on the daily trader list. It's probably got a date with 100. A lot of these times, once they get into the 80s, they have a magnet at the 100, and they just kind of drift back over that area. Plan. This was a really nice breakout, IPO breakout. It held the breakout spot yesterday. It actually ended up kind of getting a hammer candle. It looked like it was flush, and it just reversed back end of day. I think that this one, you had still 10 million shares in volume, so there's still liquidity in this thing. This is going to be one of our tops for today. And then these are day two plays for shorts. EVH. This one got dusted 30% yesterday. It had a beautiful trend like all day. It was just fading off at inflection points too. Like look how clean it is, right? Like pops in the VWAP fades, intraday bear flag fades, VWAP fades, so on and so forth. When a stock moves clean like that, I really like that, right? If this thing gets jammed up today, if it gets back, ideally, like if I could get a pop on this thing into close to 11, we'll look at re-rolling this thing for a green to red. I won't chase this thing into the hole. Goose, same type of deal, right? Like you had that just beautiful trend on it yesterday. Ended up closing at 33, so you had a really good range. This is a big long-term breakdown. Same type of deal. The SSR will be on this thing, but if it starts getting jammed up, you start to see it pop into 35, 35.50 even. We'll keep an eye on it to see if it potentially wants to re-roll back into a green to red move. So it'd be more like a day two play. What are you guys watching? Oh, you guys don't want to talk about this OBLN. Yeah, OBLN looks okay. We were looking at this kind of in the pre-market. You got their 200 SMA over here at 177. So it could be on watch. You may have some room up to 177, 180. Maybe even 190. It's under a lot of resistance, so it's not on my particular list because I don't I don't want to buy something that's just stuck under like a range of resistance. But I will give it that it's probably got a little bit of room in here if the intraday pattern sets up. Prognace, what are you watching, buddy? Hey Dan, you're watching some oil, huh? Yeah, oil's been drifting down. You could use like UWT as a proxy. But the chart itself is a little bit nasty for me. So that's not like, that's not top priority for me. Usually something like that is, once it's mid-range and it's breaking down, I have a lot more trouble trying to time, like whether it's a long, it's a short, whatever. So I usually just leave those bad boys alone. So short and fast list today. There's a handful of gappers that we can play. And then, of course, right, watch like the stuff like Roku. Even keep AMD on watch. Yesterday I had a little bit of an inside day, so it's just a consolidation day after that big run. As long as it can hold above this trend line and this breakout spot, you're probably gonna get a bounce. So I think that we want to keep an eye on this one too. Oh yeah, my friends. Mr. Christmas, what's going on? Hunter, what's your fave today? Hey Celeste, how you doing? Cool. let's go do what we do, people. Been nice, easy, kind of, couple weeks. Earnings season's kind of winding down, so we'll have to find some extra plays and stuff. But we still got more than enough to keep us busy. I did see that Momo had an upgrade today. It's just daily chart is so ganar. I'm not sure that I see the play in it yet, but definitely we keep a lot of the Chinese stocks on watch just because they might roll over, right, at any given moment. So be good today. Let's go do what we got to do.